for inviting me, for considering me to participate in your World's Mediators conference. But also, I would like to thank you because of all your wonderful initiatives that really promote mediation and mediators across the world. And what for me is very important that you do is that you help mediators at all stages in their professional careers. Is that we can all come here to talk and brainstorm and discuss, and so that is very, very valuable. So thank you for doing that, and that you still have the energy. I admire that.
I was told at least more than 2 years back that you're going to burn out. You can't keep this pace.
Yes, it's I think you're some sort of alien or something. It's not human.
I think it's just the passion. And I've always said that, look, these wonderful conversations that I've had, it's just so nice. I mean, it's been really nice. The journey, as I would call it, it's been really nice. And I think, and the good, like you're saying,
No,
getting
really.
people and getting everyone
No,
to,
sorry.
yeah, the young ones. I mean, I keep saying that, look, you're not young in mediation. You've been there, you have the mindset, you've had that, because that is something that I have to get them over. They think, oh, we are new to mediation. Someone who's experienced, but she was not actually practicing for some time. She says, I'm new. I said, you're not new. You've been from your childhood, you had the mindset. So, but what we're going to do, Liliana, is that we're going to put up what we're doing here. So this is what we are doing, a practical perspective on mandatory mediation. Although Liliana suggested another topic, she didn't take my joke. She changed the topic, but her topic was, no, I'm going to put it out. She said, mediator in mandatory mediation. I said, there's only one word, broke. So that joke became... Okay, but Liliana, of course, you said such nice things about the event, but something you want to tell us about more about the conference or anything?
Well, I've been watching some of the conferences and amazing panelists, and what I get from the conference is that I always left a session thinking, and I think that's something very good. It's like it made me reflect on the situation of mediation, my personal situation as a mediator, and to listen to other mediators, and that some of the same concerns are shared. It really makes me reflect, particularly on what can we do to keep promoting and mediation to actually be adopted by people. Because that's what we need, that people really embrace mediation as a tool. So yeah, for me, the conference is a wonderful space for, as I said before, to brainstorm and to have new ideas. And I always, left a session thinking and reflecting on what was shared and what can I, contribute or not. So
that's really nice.
I think that's the beauty of the conference.
Okay, so some good things will come out of it. And of course, like getting to the people, that is what that World Mediation Circle is about. Let's get to the people. Let's get to the user now. It's been quite some time getting the mediators together. Yes, it's been good. And now we have to get to the people. So that's going to happen. Yes. Of course. Okay. So of course, it's going up till 30th June. 30th June, you have to participate in the closing session. We'll discuss.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, we'll discuss sessions. We'll also, I want to put out the skill development project that I'm now launching, and you have to be part of that, how it's going to work. We'll talk about this. So Liliana, now it's your topic. It's all about you. Get me in if you want to. Otherwise, I'm listening. Please. And about yourself.
Sorry. Yes, I'm sorry if I may cough at some point. I'm recovering from a flu here in I'm based in Argentina. I'm a mediator from Argentina, and well, the winter has started and it is very cold, and the first colds of the year, people start getting sick. So, and I was fine, but then it happened. Yeah, that's these things are right now.
So
But
that's like my conference. This is also annual event. It has to happen. You have to fall sick for the 1 week.
yeah, no, please no. But yeah, that happened, unfortunately, because but well, when I was thinking what to talk about, what to discuss, I really feel very strongly that I needed to share, or that I could only share, actually, my humble experience as a mediator within a mandatory mediation system, which is the only one I have practiced so far. The only one I know since I became a mediator. That's the only way. Yes, I know how to practice or perform as a mediator, because that's the way I became a mediator, and it is set up here in Argentina, and especially or particularly in the province where I live, which is called Santa Fe. So we have mandatory mediation, and I do not wish to engage like in a much broader debate on mandatory mediation versus private mediation, or is the way to go. Should we?
I understand. I understand what you're saying. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there.
Right. So I said, okay, I can only, and I want to share some personal thoughts, aspects that I have picked up during my experience and with my talks with colleagues. What have we been experiencing being mandatory mediators, particularly focusing on how we can preserve our identities as mediators. Not broken yet, but yeah, we are perhaps close. But we do not want that to happen, right? We don't have broken mediators or broken mediation, to pick up your word.
Broke. No, that was broke in terms of not getting money. Broke in that sense, not broken inside. That was what
soul. In the
soul
of the mediator, I thought. Well, yes, that as well. So, but how can we preserve that? You know, the mediator identity, the mediator intervention, and the mediation itself as a process within, design of a mandatory mediation system, right? So, of course, I don't have any magical answers, unfortunately. Just sharing some thoughts, and I don't know if I could share my screen. Please, I just prepared a few slides. It's not a long presentation. It's just it's my screen.
I send out such nice flyers. No one uses my flyers. They always make their own ones.
I was going to, but it didn't match my design. So it will be like different. Okay, well, next time, I promise.
I put in a lot of effort to do that. You know that.
Yeah, I know. Well, please don't get offended. Next time I will share it. I promise. So, okay, just quick background on mandatory mediation and its main aspects. You know, I think it's general, but I'm speaking, of course, about Argentina and particularly about Santa Fe. So mediation is a compulsory prerequisite before litigation. And of course, in certain matters, it's not every single matter needs to go to mediation as a precondition before trial. We have a law, so it's according to the regulation. Mediators are lawyers or attorneys. You should hold a law degree and a minimum of 3 years of experience in the profession. You should be registered as a mediator. There are particular specific registries that have been created for this purpose. You are designated in Santa Fe, the organism, the entity that manages the whole mediation process is called a mediation agency, and that mediation agency designates or appoints mediators based on a platform, a software. So you get selected randomly. And you're also notified by the same, system that you have been selected. So it is a platform where you log in as a mediator and you see the mediation cases that you have been appointed to. Legal representation is mandatory for all participants. You cannot have the mediation meeting, if one participant comes without a legal representative. You cannot hold the meeting, and also by law that will equal not being present at the mediation, and you that you didn't come to the mediation meeting, and that you didn't just justify the reason why not. So that's, if you don't come with your lawyer, that means you weren't there. That's what I'm trying to say, by law. So, and mediators' fees are regulated. So what I just as a quick background, and I'm not going to enter into the law and the mandatory mediation law in my province. If someone wants to discuss it, I can provide the links to the law and we can further discuss. Just a few notes, because what I'm really interested about highlighting is that from the moment that you get selected as mediator, you get appointed as mediator, you communicate with the attorney who represents the person who requested the mediation. And here, 2 quick remarks. So actually, the person didn't request the mediation process, didn't request to be part of a mediation process. The person went to an attorney seeking guidance on a particular issue. And the lawyer must have informed for that particular matter if a further later legal action is needed. You need to go to mediation first, according to the law. So, and here, and this is something very important for me, it will really depend on how the attorney presented the mediation process to its client, how it was communicated, what the attorney said about the mediation process. It's not the same to highlight the benefits of the mediation process as to say, we need to go to this because the law just requires. You cannot go to litigation then if you wish to, if you don't go to this process, and we need to tick this box before. So there is a difference in the language and the communication, because it all comes down to the language used by the attorney. And also, as the way I see it, is I don't see it as mediators versus lawyers. We are trying to, so the mediation process is, so that's my dog, if someone heard. So the mediation process as the process itself has different actors, and lawyers are one of them. And we need them as collaborators. We keep saying this, that, you know, mediation advocates, we need them to be collaborators and to cooperate with the process. So it's not, you know, something against mediators versus lawyers. I don't see it that way. I think nobody sees it that way. And they are the first contact with the person experiencing any sort of conflict. And let's face it, that's how it is. At least I'm speaking from my personal experience. People approaches attorneys first when they are experiencing a conflict. They don't approach a mediator, at least not yet. And that's why we will like, and we are envisioning that people approach mediators, right? But as of now, people go to attorneys seeking guidance, advice on how, what do I do about this? So they are the first contact with the people, and the knowledge and what they tell their clients, for me, is it could be a downside to the mandatory mediation system. All participants to a mediation, of course, should enter into the process with full knowledge of what it is. So that's what I'm saying. It is important that attorneys know first what it is and the benefits and what they tell their clients about it. So that their clients can also feel that they are choosing to go to mediation and not being compelled to. I know that they are being compelled to because it's a prerequisite, but it is about working on how the people feel about the process, even though it is a prerequisite. So, and I think on that account, lawyers are very important players and cooperators to the process itself and to the mediators. So the personal commitment of the participants is vital to the mediation process. Not also in that particular case to hopefully reach a successful settlement, but also for the significant value for the society that mediation has and for justice itself. So lawyers should help in making people see in the process not a stage to go to. I have to go to this, I have to tick this box, and then I can go to court where I really want to go and where things matter, you know. That's what the change of mind, of attitude towards the process needs to be something to work on. And the other highlight or remark that I wanted to make is that all communications happen between the mediator and the attorneys. So we set the date and time. Of course, the attorney checks the availability with their clients, but all communications happen between the mediator and the attorney, right? So once the date and the time is fixed for the mediation meeting, so me as a mediator, I send written notifications to the participants, and by law, I am required to transcribe certain articles, and one of them is related to legal representation. You should assist to this mediation process accompanied by a legal representative, that is a lawyer. So again, they go to an attorney and their attorneys communicate with me as mediator. There are certain rare occasions that people communicate with me directly because all my information, phone number, email address is on the notification as well. If they have any inquiries, they can communicate with me. So some people do, and that is wonderful. I love when that happens because I can explain to them, because normally why they communicate with you, they want to know, what is this piece of paper? What does this mean? What should I do? I don't have any money to pay an attorney. What should I do? And the mediation agency, as I mentioned, that manages the whole process, provides for free legal representation. And in the roster of free legal representations, all are mediators. So they're all attorney mediators, right? That participate in the processes without getting paid, unless we reach an agreement. If the agreement has economic content, that legal representative gets paid for its work. But so there's no barrier to go to mediation if you don't have money to pay an attorney. That's what I'm trying to explain. You can have legal representation, so you can participate into the mediation process, and the mediation agency will provide a free legal representation. When participants itself communicate with the mediator, that is wonderful, as I said, because we can explain the benefits of the mediation process without also not trying to impose, because you want the people to choose the process, even though it is mandatory. I don't know if I'm making any sense with what I'm saying, So you, Vikram, just say yes or not.
I don't ask me to say anything, because once I start, you know what happens. So no, you're making total sense. You're making total sense. Of course, there's lots to talk about, but I'm not going to
Okay,
come in
perfect.
right now.
But am I making
Yeah,
myself
yeah,
clear?
absolutely,
Because
absolutely.
I must confess that I'm still a bit foggy for my flu, so I'm not sure if I'm making any sense. So what I'm trying to say is that it is wonderful when you as mediator are able to communicate directly with the participants and explaining the process and explaining what this is about, and trying for them to at least have a little bit of shift in their thinking about this piece of paper that I got, citing me to go to a meeting. And then of course we go to the joint meeting, and normally, and I'm going to expand on this later on, attorneys speak on behalf of their clients. So, and as the process it is set up right now in my province, at least, so we don't hold private separate meetings with the people, with the participants. We can, it's not like it's prohibited. We might, call, for instance, I could not as mediator approach the person who requested the mediation without their legal representative, because the attorney will call me and say what's going on. But I could also can't do that with the people I am requesting to participate in the mediation process. I might, but right now, and as the process it is here, there are some ethical questions, and because people and mediation actually is not rooted in the society, so people are afraid of talking to the mediator without their attorneys present. So here's another challenge of the not only mandatory mediation system, but mediation itself. It is raising awareness, building trust, building credibility of the mediation process, of the mediator as a professional, competent professional capable of leading this process. So this is not happening here. And for what I heard in the conferences, this is the situation in many parts of the world. And I know here, I'm going to say something that I know your position about, but I'm going to expand on this later on. But here, the role of the International Mediation Institute is vital and paramount, and I strongly believe that, about the skills, about assuring, about quality assurance, assuring that you have this trusted, capable, high quality professionals, mediators to go to. Going back to my topic, so the question for me, and then we're going to talk or fight, whatever. So the question for me, and not only for me, for my colleagues as well, because I mentioned that I had the privilege to be appointed by my colleagues as director of the Mediation Institute of the Bar Association here in my hometown. So we gather monthly, every month, and we discuss, and there is a general agreement or common ground, let's say, unfortunately, that we don't feel that we are actually mediating. And it's,
but can I come in
sad.
first at this stage? Can I come in?
Yes.
Congratulations, because of course it's happened on the email, but I have to. Great. I'm sure you do great things there. But, yeah.
Thank you so much. Let's hope. So the question will be for me: how can we effectively intervene as mediators and feel that we are mediators, that we are mediating, in a process that at least it seems, I'm not saying that it is, I'm saying that it seems to have been designated as a stage to go to in the path to litigation, right? It is, okay, this is a stage, I have to tick the box, but my path, my way, I have my goal set on the court. So, and that's seen as a useful part of this overall dispute resolution, process. So that will be for me the main question currently, and what we are discussing. So how can we, or what can we do? And I don't want to be misunderstood here, because mandatory mediation system in Argentina, and in particular in my province, I believe to be of great value. And this is why, because at least here's why: people at least are hearing the word mediation. At least they are at some point in their lives, they needed to go to mediation, or they were requested to participate in one. So at least, this is happening. Otherwise, honestly, and I honestly believe this, we wouldn't have mediation at all. We wouldn't be talking about an alternative or a parallel process to litigation. We wouldn't be talking about that. So at least we are able to debate this because we have mandatory mediation. So it's not about this process is awful, it's not working, it should be removed. Not at all. I really do not believe that. I do believe in working on what is going on, what is it working, what is it not working, what can we do, how can we make it better. I'm forgetting to go through my slides, but it's not like I have too many. So, and as I mentioned, the first contact that people have with mediation is through the attorney. So I believe that is very important to work on. It is like the extra mile, I think. We really need to work with our cooperators, which are lawyers, and invest in education and knowledge of what the mediation process is. We need to work on professional and comprehensive training of mediators to achieve this high level of competence and continuous professional development. Also, a peer review system like the one the International Mediation Institute has established, I think, is key in identifying these high quality professionals, because we need to move to mediation as a profession. And I strongly believe that. For me, I know you don't believe that, and we will brainstorm later. I know you will have a lot of things to tell me. But I am speaking from my personal experience. If you wish, not as part of IMI, which is a great institution, but my personal experience as mediator, quality of mediators, training, skills, I really believe it makes the difference. And for instance, what I was talking about, what is it working, what is it not in the mandatory mediation system, what can I do? Because I had these questions about how can I be a better mediator since I became a mediator and started participating in the mediations that I got designated. My first mediation was awful, was terrible. It was a terrible experience. I couldn't believe that this was my first mediation meeting, because when I was studying to become a mediator, I was so thrilled. Everything that I had been taught was it seemed so wonderful for me. For me, mediation was that space where I felt embraced. That was my feeling when I started my training as mediator. So I then go to my first mediation meeting, prepared like everything that I was trained to do. And because it was a claim to an insurance company, it only came the attorney of the insurance company, and he said, I don't have anything to say. I don't have instructions to agree on anything. So yes, it was not the greatest experience. I was prepared to ask questions, and I could, of course, I was able to give my initial, how do you call it? My initial, the word is not.
I'll call it
Yeah.
orientation. I'll call it orientation
Yes.
or familiarization with the process.
The orientation, yes, I was able to, but because I had to impose myself as well, because the attorney from the other part, the part that requested a mediation, just they came. I was so excited waiting for them. I arranged the papers, the pencils, so they everything, the coffee, everything, all the venue was wonderful. They sat down and they started talking between themselves, like I was not there, and I had to, stop and say, here in Argentina, attorneys, we call each other doctors. Do not ask me why, but doctor, and of course, and I don't want to get into the feminist issues, but they were two guys, and I was a younger, because I'm still young, a younger professional, and female. So they started talking to each other, and I had to stop and said, doctors, please, but I am the mediator, and I have to explain why we are here, so I was able to give my introduction. But another small example that I want to give in how to still be a mediator within the mediation, a mandatory mediation system, to preserve your identity as a mediator, is that what happened to me, for example, is that in all my first mediations, attorneys came and spoke on behalf of their clients. So when I got a bit confident, I started asking, who wishes to speak? Do you, Mr. and Mrs., wishes to talk, or you, doctor, whoever, as you have agreed or as you feel comfortable? And to my surprise, people started asking to me, and they tell their attorneys, because they probably agreed on the attorney to do the talking, but they started saying, I can talk, I can talk. So that for me was amazing, to discover that I could build this trust towards me or the space or the mediation process, but they started talking. So because, it's not the theoretical aspect of the self-composition and that the process is of the parties, it's about the mediator in the practice, in the concrete actions. You have to do it with a wide range of interventions. So you can still make those interventions. And I strongly believe that mediators can have an identity within a mandatory mediation system, but you have to have an identity first. And that is what we need to work on. And as I'm showing there, we need to build trust, to build credibility, to really raise awareness about the benefits of the process. We need to professionalize the mediation, and we need the lawyers on our side. So that's all I had to say. I didn't want to make it too long.
Yeah, you've said so many things that how many things I want to come into, but I will come into all that. But I tell you, one important thing, like you said, about the building that trust. And of course, we had one session on trust and connection. So that part of it.
I missed that one.
No, so look, the idea, of course, is that the process goes on only with those two things. And like you said, was a nice example you gave, that something was happening there, some connection was happening, some trust was developing. So they opened up to you. So definitely that helps. Now, how much of that would have helped more if they were only them and you and not the lawyers there? That's why this, look, I'll tell you the issue. I mean, I'm not going to get into the aspect of why. I want to put out why is because, of course, they want lawyers to be happy. They don't want them to get pissed off that why are you doing this process? So they involve them in all this. But otherwise, I feel that this is a limitation in your case, because in your case, they're saying that person has to be there. So that definitely is a limitation for the process, and I think makes life difficult for you. Definitely. I think, I mean, you would know, because that's not an area that I ever would want to practice in.
Well, what I could say is that I don't know, because as I said at the beginning, this is all I know. Mandatory mediation. I have practiced as a mandatory mediator, and I have always had attorneys in my mediation meetings. So I honestly, and I don't want, sometimes it's easier to say, okay, it will be better if attorneys are not present and I only talked with the people, but in comparing to what, so what it is to what it could be, I don't know. I don't have a definite answer to say, yeah, that will be better. Just talking to the people. I know that I like to talk to people because I like to explain the people the mediation process. That's what I like. And because I think it's necessary. Besides the attorneys or, that particular case, what I'm trying to say is that how can I raise awareness? My small seed, how can I do that for mediation? Well, so that explaining in every mediation, regardless of the attorneys that they know the process, I always explain what mediation is, why we are here, what is my role, what is their role in the process. So that is what I'm trying to do, to raise awareness and to make people understand what this is about.
Okay,
yes.
like you're saying, yeah, that the other side you haven't seen. So, but look, those my three favorite words: the heart, soul, spirituality aspect of it. So, does that come into play? Because I really feel that's part of the process. It should be there. But does it come into play? What is your feeling? I mean, you're experiencing it, and that's an experience only you've had. I don't have, because I don't do that part of the court system at all. Do you really feel that thing coming in, that aspect of your connectedness in that manner, where you can actually feel there is more than just that conversation happening there? Anything else that you feel that happens?
Oh, sorry, again?
Can't explain. I can't explain that. I won't be able to explain. It's an experience thing. It's an experience thing. I'm just saying that, look, that connection aspect of it. I mean, there is one that it's a very official kind of thing. This is something which is happening with lawyers present, and definitely, like you said, it's pathway to the litigation. So in a way, that court is somewhere, the shadow of the court is somewhere in the process, somewhere, I don't know, there is a feeling there. So I mean, does it go into that kind of a a kind of a energy, let's call it energy, that energies are more negative, or are they pulling it down, or do you get over that and then suddenly, how much time do you get? First of all, how much time do you get for all these sessions?
For the mediation session, meetings?
Totally.
So it's up to the participants, but I always, you get like the feeling, in the room, but you don't want to make it a too long of a meeting that everything, can, because of people get tired or frustrated, or so I don't know. It always, I didn't have longer than perhaps 1 hour and 30 minutes, that was like the longest. But you have several sessions. You have two you have to, according to the law, to finish the mediation process as a prerequisite before going to litigation, you have to do 2 meetings.
But in terms of in a day you'll schedule only one.
Ah,
In a, or
oh,
will you have-
no. But for me as well, to provide like the best version of myself as a mediator, I always looked at the also the subject of the case. When it's family, I try to schedule one in the day, because they are always have a lot of aspects that you really have to put everything of yourself there. So yes, between 1 and 2 a day, I schedule.
Because I was looking at a list from some of the one court in India. There were some 12 mediations which were fixed for some mediator. I was quite amazed at how do you manage 12 mediations
the same day?
Same day. So I'm just thinking that, because look, okay, of
Well,
course.
I don't know. Perhaps I'm not capable of doing that.
Look,
another person can.
No, nothing like that. The number of cases you can understand what our situation is. Our courts definitely are overloaded. So I'm sure here the situation is different, but I just don't see that working. I mean, if you have, which is the same thing you hear from the US also, that suddenly you're told in 30 minutes, just go with this mediator and come back in 30 minutes and tell me what you have, say if you've settled or not. So that's not happening in your case, which is good. So you get a chance to do a mediation. That's the good part. It's not that settlement conference.
We don't get, that's another issue, let's say here, that we struggle with as well. Mediators do not get a lot of, even though it's mandatory, we do not, any mediator gets 10 mediations, for example, has 10 mediation opens, you know, that you get designated through the system, at least in Santa Fe. I don't know about Buenos Aires, which is a greater area. I will have to check that, how many do they get selected in? But no, we don't have. We had 5 mediations designated, you know, and sometimes it is because you left it open, because you are compelled as mediator to have 2 meetings, but then you can have the number of meetings that you and the participants agreed. You have a total duration of the process by law also, and during that total duration of the process, you can have as many meetings as you and the participants want. So for instance, for me, it happened, the total law duration is 6 months, and I had a mediation open for nearly a year. But I knew people was going to settle because, you know, we were close. I had amazing attorneys who believes in the process and who actually, I don't know, I think we work very well all together in that mediation. And I remember one of the attorneys was one that was designated as a free legal advisor, and is a fellow mediator. And he mentioned at one meeting, and I completely forgot about that, because the mediation was free. We have, you can request a mediation to be free. So you don't pay for the cost of starting it and the mediator's fees. But if you reach an agreement, and if the agreement has economic content, you need to pay. So the mediator said, my fellow colleague said, we have this process open for like 8 months, and this mediator, me, is not getting selected in other processes, and she is kindly enough to keep going to this mediation because she's offering us another meeting and we are discussing and talking, and she's not getting selected in other processes, because if you have an open mediation case, you don't get selected randomly through the system in another one until you close it. And if we don't reach an agreement, he told me this in private. The others, he said it in the, he said, Lily, you are not getting paid and you have been working for 8 months. If they don't reach an agreement, you will not get paid. And I said, yeah, that's true. I completely forgot about that, but I honestly didn't mind. I just wanted them to have the best experience in the mediation, because it was a family case, but it was about a land, the property, land owned by the family, and they were brothers. And I really saw that they could solve this in the mediation. So that was another good case, and they reached an agreement.
No, I think this is what I was going to come to. The aspect of, you said that at least they're hearing about mediation, but the kind of mediation that you are doing, that's the mediation that I want them to hear about, not the way, of course, in general, what you hear about mandatory mediation. Like I said, it becomes more of a settlement conference. So you bring your heart into the process, and which is what I was trying to get at, in that sense, that you're doing it from an angle, because I mean, mandatory or court system, anything that doesn't matter to you, that's what you do. I mean, this is a process that you're passionate about, and all that's why you're bringing that aspect, which is important, which I don't know whether that's the experience of other people, or is that the way they're doing it or not. That's something only the user can tell us. So is there is there a user feedback? Is there a feedback that the user
No, there's not the custom that to do that. It's not, they are not used to providing feedback. No, that's not happening. And we will need at least a peer review, and that will be wonderful, because people, of course, we should ask them, but timing, when to ask. For me, you can't ask at the end of the mediation, like, please provide me feedback. It's like,
why not? They should. That's the right time. That's the right time.
I don't know. Well, it's something I will need to think about a bit more, perhaps.
No,
yeah,
that's the only
of course we need the feedback. Yes.
Yeah, because I'm saying the only question that I want to ask them is, what is it that you experienced, and what are you going to tell other people about it? That's the only thing.
No. Oh, how do they feel? Yeah, it's something that doesn't, come out like you're just trying to get a recommendation or something like that. It's like a thin line. It's that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
But yeah,
would you recommend it to the process? So you're saying that, look, it's not me, it's about the process. Are you going to recommend the process? Because I tell you, the problem that I'm seeing is that, yes, in the court system we are talking about it, but is it a process that people are going back and telling people to use? And in that sense, a direct connection with mediators can be made, because that is not something which is going to court. It is something that people might call Liliana in, that, okay, you had worked on this and we have something, so please help us. So if that linkage develops, then that aspect of that word going out makes sense. Because yes, it's going out. A culture of mediation is developing because of good user experience. Because I the way that you are describing what you do, and you put in your heart, soul into it, and time is not a factor. No, I'm sure you do that. And time is not a factor, because if a time limitation has been put, and also the fact that you will get more mediations only when you close the earlier mediation, or with all that happening, you are still continuing the process, which means you want to give the user a good user experience. And it's not just about a user experience. You are, in your sense, involved in the process. You really want them to settle. That's where it comes from. So that part of it, I really feel, if that's the way it's happening, perfect, not a problem. You heard me criticize the concept.
Yeah, I know.
But
I can say that there are a lot of mediators that feel the same way, and we change our views and our concerns and how we can do more. And we are really committed to mediation, and we want to see it grow, and we want people to choose it, not yes, and we want lawyers to be our because we are lawyers. As I mentioned, that's what I highlighted, that main aspect of mandatory mediation. We have to be attorneys. So we are all lawyers.
All of them.
So we are all colleagues as well. Yes, I strongly believe.
Yeah, because I won't get, like you said, I won't get into that part about the lawyers and who should. I won't get into that at all, because that's another discussion by itself. But what I want to put out there is that people should know that Liliana is a different person when she speaks in Spanish. Why are you not doing this session in Spanish also? Let people also in the Spanish speaking world also get this experience. I'm telling you this aspect. I want them to really get into hearing this aspect, that you bring in a different aspect from what otherwise people might understand mandatory.
Okay. Okay, I didn't know that we could do the session in Spanish. I'm no problem. But on the 29th, we will speak in Spanish. We have another session with my colleagues, and we can and actually I will suggest that we do like a continuation of what I just said in Spanish. We can do it in Spanish. Perfect. Is that okay?
Perfect. But please tell them to talk about this experience aspect of it. And of course,
okay.
you can ask each of them how they look at it, because I'm sure they have the same mindset as you have. And I wish.
Yes, they do. They do.
Because I wanted to put out there. Of course, we have a session on oxymorons and mediation. So mandatory mediation for me is an oxymoron. Mediation advocacy is an oxymoron. All those are. But tell me, at the end of the day, in terms of fees, I mean, are you going to get something which is comfortable for you, or is it just something that you go through because you enjoy the process? How does it work?
I do not live as a mediator. That's what I can tell you. No. And yeah, no. That is something I don't like to define certain things, but if I should choose a word, is sad, because we put a lot of effort into the work we do. We put a lot of effort in training ourselves to acquire or deepen our skills, and to, try to provide the best service that we are able to. And the way things have been, established, no, it's not. At the moment, you cannot live fully as a mediator. No.
So are you, as the director of your association, going to change that? Are you going to say that we will not work in the court system if we are not given a fair amount? Are you going to do that or not?
I perhaps should have said that we are not part of the court, because this mandatory mediation system here in Santa Fe does not depend on the judiciary. It depends on the executive branch of power. So
okay, but still, if you don't do the mediation,
to the budget in the province, actually. Yes,
look, finally, like I keep
more
saying,
political.
But look, finally, like I keep saying, that the fact that you have to value the mediators, only then the process will be valued. And that part of it, there's an
we have started. I have, as director, I have started conversations with the provincial secretary, and it was wonderful, because I live in a city which is the third largest one in my province. So it's not a small city, it's not a big one, but it's important within the province, at least, but from Argentina as well. And they didn't know our needs as mediator, our situation as mediators. And the jurisdiction here covers a large portion of the province, and it's different, the situation, north, the center, the south of the province, not the same. So they didn't know about everything that we were experiencing as mediators, what we need. So just that contact with them, that we are keeping how do you say? Wait, how do you say? Like we are, keeping that contact alive with them was wonderful, because of that, we are trying to have some trainings from them, free trainings from them, to come here to meet us, to listen to us, to uniform certain interpretation of the law, because that's another thing, because the law is not that clear. So some mediators and attorneys are interpreting differently. So that creates a lot of inconveniences in practicing mediation. So yes, I am trying to do my best, and during these years that I will be as a director, I will try.
No, I'm saying that you can actually, because I'm telling you, laws sometimes get drafted by people who don't understand the process. So for them to even understand that lawyers are not required in the process, they might not even know. So the fact that if you don't talk about it, law won't change. So I think it should be explained what the process is about. It's not about the rights. It's not about arguing about your case. It's about a very different aspect of that. And sometimes it can be a hindrance to have someone who's only focused on that. And lawyers and expert on law, we'll call them in when required. That's not a problem. As look, right now, I'm not saying that, okay, I would also want that the mediator also doesn't have to be a lawyer. But I'm not trying to get, let's take it step by step. Let's get the lawyers out of the picture here. And then you can say that I'm a lawyer. I understand when a lawyer is required for me each side. I can bring that lawyer in. So that step by step might be a little easier, rather than, of course, saying no lawyers as mediators, no lawyers in the room.
Yes.
So maybe we'll take it step by step. But I think, but how many mediators are there in your specific that particular office or whatever that you have?
In my I honestly don't have the statistics. I can, because that's available in the web page of
it's a large number or a small
number. I don't know.
Tens, hundreds, thousands. What is it?
Thousands. Yes, thousands. Yeah. The total province I'm talking. Okay. Yeah. My jurisdiction, I am not sure, but I'm not sure if we reach 1,000. Yeah.
Okay, let's just say hi to Sherry. Sherry's here.
Yeah,
Sherry,
I was seeing someone else.
No, but up to Sherry's invisible, she can't come in. She wants to say invisible, and she doesn't. Okay, we'll get her in. But one thing that let me also put across, that of course this certifications, trainings, and all that people talk about, and you've heard my view. Actually, people have got it wrong, and I tried to explain this to Ivana in the last year's conference. That look, what I am trying to do is that the user experience is guaranteed by some people who are already practicing it. They have the mediator mindset. People trust them. Let's take these people, identify them, and ask people to identify them. So the whole aim of all this training and all certification program, which I was discussing with her also, this came out, that is to give the user a good experience. I'm saying I'm starting with the user experience, the guaranteed user experience, and we are building the skills of these people with the skill development. Oh, look, all these videos are out there as skill development only. What else is it all about? So skill development, it's not put as, okay, now you'll get a certification with some kind of certificate. I haven't done it, but I think I'm going to start doing that, because Latin America and a lot of other places also, everyone I think likes certificates. So that's not a problem. Certificate of participation can be put out there. But important thing is that this is part of the whole process of skill development. It's not like here we have more than 600 hours at least, maybe 700. I don't know how many hours. So it's all a part of that. And the skill development project that I'm putting across is to answer that aspect, that look, you are talking about all these people, but then they need to be trained. Of course, that word I have a problem with, but I am taking them through all the skill development by the best in the world. So where's the issue? But I'm starting with a user experience. So you don't have to certify them. They're already certified. So that's my difference in the understanding. And it's going to help everyone. When you have people who have that mindset, and we bring them out as part of the World Mediation Circle, the idea is from everywhere these people come out, they now will look at this as something, of course, they've been doing it and they of course enjoy doing it. Suddenly they look at it from a larger perspective, then they will want to go for whatever certification is out there, whatever programs people are doing out there. They would be the real people who would benefit from it. So those programs will benefit, because the people who would go there will now use it, and then they will be known because they are good at the work that they do. The program benefits, the certifications. I mean, look, I'm not going to stop people from their certification. They can do all that. For me, the certification is given by the people, and it is they who make mediators, no one else. But you're putting out people who really connect with it, who have really not connected with it up till now as something that, oh, it's some kind of a organized kind of thing. Also, some in a way that, okay, people are doing it like this. I thought this was just a way of life for me. But of course, as a profession, whether it's a profession or not, that's a debate we had last year. I won't get into that. It's a way of life.
Okay.
Yeah, but the profession part. But I'm saying that I am not. It's people don't understand this aspect. I tried to explain it, but because I've alienated people by saying this aspect of certification, they don't understand the maybe the larger picture of it. Bring the right people into the field, and the field will benefit, and then all your programs will benefit. Of course, look, the whole money making thing is happening. There are enough people who come into those programs, and there is a limitation into how many people can go into one program. But there was Ivana was talking in some space, and she said there was some country, there is a person who's training, and those people who will get trained will get certified, but that person who's training is not certified herself. So it's not that person is not IMI certified, but she's providing training to people who would get certified. So it's all happening. It's within the IMI structure also. So I mean, this whole certification thing has happened, or whatever reason has happened. But I'm saying that let's get the right people in. For further, whatever certification they want, they can always go towards. But if we get the right people into the movement, as I would call it, the movement will benefit, and everyone else who's doing all the programs will benefit. Because the right people will come in, mediation will take off. When the mediation takes off, people would want the right people in it, because user experience is the main thing. And when you've got people who've given the best user experience, that takes off, and then the multiplier effect happens. Like look, everyone doesn't experience, according to me, mediations that the way you do it. So definitely what you are doing, the user experience is definitely good, and they will talk about it. But maybe in these code structures, everyone doesn't have the time or doesn't have that kind of inclination. I don't know. But
well, what I can say is that, of course, this is my experience. I don't know how the people are experiencing it. I can assure that they are happy with me as mediators. I do hope so. And I try, as I mentioned, and that was the topic of my session, how to still be a mediator when it seems that you have certain limitations. So I wanted to explore that. Regarding IMI, I'm not sure what Ivana referred to. What I can say is that we are relatively new to the organization that has been around for 15 years, and we have been around for almost 2, the 2 of us. And perhaps there are some things that were different, or they were established in a certain way, and now we are listening to everyone, to all the stakeholders, and she is an amazing leadership. I really agreed and on her vision, and besides, I really believe in the mission of IMIs, and on all the other topic that you mentioned. So I can fully understand your perspective. I think we need to further discuss.
But are you also going to believe in the World Mediation Circle? Are you also going to look at that as, so that's also in a way certification? I certify in a way who comes into it.
You will be certifying.
No, in the sense, in a way, it's a certification in the sense of me saying that, okay, the people I bring in some way, they've gone through my process, which is, of course, so in a way, that's, I mean, those are certifications. But what I don't understand, why Sherry's not coming in? Sherry, why aren't you coming in?
I thought she was the next panelist. I was looking at the time. Okay.
She's there, but she hasn't.
So I will exit the room and leave the show.
You don't have to exit the room. The main thing is to get her to enter. What happened, Sherry? What was going on? Why were you not here with us?
I didn't want to interrupt.
You were
I just-
supposed to
Oh,
interrupt. It was your
no.
session. It was your session. I mean, I said this
No.
earlier also. I said, where are you, Sherry? Why are you invisible? And
I didn't hear you say it. Yes. So good morning, Liliana. Good morning, Mediator Vikram. It's nice to see you.
okay, so let me just start
Good
your session.
morning. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, let's thanks Liliana first. Thank you, Liliana, for your session. And of course, lots of conversations of this will keep on happening. Of 29th, we're having a conversation. But the only thing is, will I be able to put across my points to your friends, your colleagues? You will have to do that. Please, all these things
Okay.
that I've said, please, you can check with them. So definitely you can
Okay.
stay in the
Okay.
session. Let me just
I don't want to take any more time from Sherry. So thank you for the invitation. Nice to meet you, Sherry, and we will keep talking.
No, you can
Okay.
always look. All panelists are invited for all sessions. It's not. It's just
Yes,
that
I know.
So it's your wish totally. So let me just stop this. So thank you very much, Liliana.